Today's story is absolutely wild. It involves a double cheater. See, OP has already been cheated on one time in his life. He was already married, and that ended in a disaster. So he never would have imagined his new relationship would go down the same path. But here's where it gets twisted. It does go down the same path, but oh man, it gets so much crazier than the first marriage, and I'm gonna tell you right now, I did not expect this to happen. Let's get into it. I keep replaying it in my head. Every moment, every sign I missed, every red flag I explained away because I was so desperate to believe that someone, anyone, actually gave a crap about me after my marriage imploded. The divorce nearly took me out. I'm not being dramatic. I mean, it literally almost killed me. I was down to 98 pounds, couldn't eat, couldn't sleep. Couldn't do anything but stare at the water stains on my ceiling and wonder how I gotten everything so wrong. 10 years of marriage just gone like it never mattered, like I never mattered. And then she appeared like some kind of guardian angel in ripped jeans and smudge eyeliner. She'd been my friend before, sure, but we drifted during my marriage. My ex didn't like her, said she was too intense, should have listened to him about the one thing, I guess. The one thing he was right about. She moved in without even asking, just showed up with 2 suitcases and a box of herbal tea and said she wasn't leaving. Until I was okay again. Even set up camp on my couch. The same couch I'm sitting on now. Feeling that broken spring dig into my hip like a reminder that everything in my life is a fundamentally mistake. We fell into a routine. She makes me eat breakfast, usually just toast, but it was something. She would drive me to therapy twice a week, wait in the parking lot with engines running and some true crime podcast playing. She held my hand with the panic attack hitting and counting breaths with me. 1, 2, 3, 4, hold. Gosh, I was so pathetic, so grateful, so blind. See, the thing is, she was going through her own stuff too, or at least that's what she told me. Family drama, her mom was impossible apparently, controlling, judgmental, all the hits. We'd sit up late talking about our crappy families, our crappy exes, our crappy lives, and somehow it made everything feel less crappy. Like maybe we were both drowning, but at least we were drowning together. She started going to these meetings, support groups, she said, for people with complicated family relationships. I offered to give her one once, but she said it was something she needed to do alone. I respected that, you know, I respected her. What a joke. There's a pile of dishes in my sink that's been there for I don't even know how long, a week, 2. The water in the bottom has this oily film on top, and I know I should deal with it, but every time I walk into the kitchen, I just turn around and walk out. Everything reminds me of her. The mug with the chips on the handle that she always used, the fancy olive oil she bought because she said I needed to elevate my cooking game. The magnetic poetry on the fridge that we'd arranged in increasingly inappropriate messages when we were drunk. I started noticing changes in her maybe 3 months after she moved in. It was little things. She was happier, lighter, started wearing makeup again, and bought her new clothing. I was happy for her. I thought, good, at least one of us is healing, at least one of us is moving forward. She would come home from her support group meetings, practically glowing, said she met someone who really understands her, somebody who's been through a similar family trauma. I remember thinking it was kind of fast to be dating someone from a support group, but who was I to judge? I mean, come on. The first time I started to feel, uneasy, jealous, whatever it was when she started being secretive about her phone. We used to show each other stupid memes, funny text, whatever, but suddenly she was angling her screen away and taking calls in the bathroom with the water running. I told myself I was being paranoid, that my trust issues from my marriage were bleeding into everything else, and she was allowed to have privacy. She was allowed to have a life outside of babysitting my pathetic butt. But then she started staying out later, coming home at 2, 3 in the morning, smelling like men's cologne and something else, something I couldn't place. Obviously, it was something I thought it was, but mixed with something else. Something that made my skin crawl, even though I couldn't really say why. There's a crack in my ceiling that looks like a lightning bolt, or maybe a river, or maybe it's just a crack. I've been staring at it for the past hour, trying to make sense of it, like if I could just figure out what shape it is, everything else will make sense too. It doesn't work like that, nothing works like that. Guys, I need to back up some to explain the full situation. I'm getting ahead of myself. My therapist says that I do that, jump in the ending without processing the middle. But the middle is where everything hurts the most. 2 weeks after I started smiling again. 2 weeks, that's all I got. 2 weeks of feeling like maybe, just maybe, I was going to be okay. I'd gotten through a whole day without crying, and I laughed at something on TV. I cooked an actual meal instead of eating cereal for dinner. Small victories, but victories nonetheless. And then she ghosted me. No warning, no explanation, no goodbye. I just woke up one morning and she was gone. Her stuff was gone and her key was on the kitchen counter next to a post-it note that said, "I'm sorry." I'm sorry, that's it? That's all I get for months of her being my lifeline? I called, I texted, I called again, nothing. Nothing was coming back. It was blocked on everything. Instagram, Facebook, WhatsApp, even Venmo. It was like she erased me from existence. I thought I've done something wrong, said something, not done something. I went over every interaction from the past week, looking for the moment I messed up. Because I must have messed up, right? People don't just disappear unless you give them a reason to. I spiraled pretty hard, worse than anything after my divorce, which I didn't even think was possible. At least with my divorce, I knew why. Simple, clean, brutal, understandable, we went our separate ways, but this made no sense. I didn't shower for 4 days, I didn't eat, didn't answer my phone, just sat on the couch with the broken spring, staring at the crack in the ceiling, trying to understand how I managed to drive away the one person who bothered to give a crap about me. My friend Jess, she saved me, or maybe condemned me, I still can't decide which. She came over one day, on day 5, used the spare key I'd gotten that she had, and took one look at me and said, "Okay, what the hell happened?" I told her everything, the ghosting, the blocking, the complete radio silence, and she got this weird look on her face, like she knew something but wasn't sure if she should even go about telling me. I begged her, I literally begged her. Yeah, I needed to know what I've done wrong, I need to understand. She showed me her phone and Instagram story from someone I didn't follow. There she was, my best friend, my savior, kissing some older guy in what looked like an expensive restaurant. Candles on the table, wine glasses, the whole shebang. He looked familiar, but I couldn't quite place it. Jess zoomed in. "Isn't that..." she started, but I was already remembering. "It's her aunt's coworker, some guy that she mentioned once or twice, or maybe 3 times. Described him as creepy but nice. Said that he was always trying to ask her aunt about her, and we would laugh about it and make jokes about him living such a weird crush. Well, it's not so weird anymore, is it? I did something I'm not very proud of. I created a fake Instagram account and started to dig. Found his profile public, thank goodness, because men, over 40 never remember to make their crap private. I started scrolling through his post looking for, I don't know what, answers, explanations, proof that I wasn't going crazy. What I found was worse. Pictures of them going back months before she even ghosted me, while she was still living with me and while she was still holding my hand through panic attacks and making me eat toast and pretending to be my friend. There was one from 2 months ago at some park. Her head was on his shoulders, both of them smiling like they had a secret. The caption said, "Found my person." Found my person? While I was in the next room sobbing into my pillow about my failed marriage? The rage hit me like an absolute physical force. I threw my phone across the room, it hit the wall and the screen cracked. Good. Everything else in my life was cracked, why not that too? I wasn't going to confront her, I really wasn't. I was going to let it go, move on, pretend that she never existed, but then I couldn't sleep. Could not stop thinking about all those nights that she'd come home late, all those secretive phone calls and all the lies. I used my laptop to message her from an old email account I knew that she had not blocked. Just one line, "I know about him." She called within 10 minutes, hysterical, begging to let her explain. And because I'm an idiot who never learns, I let her. We met at a Starbucks. It was public. Neutral ground. She looked terrible, puffy eyes, unwashed hair, wearing the same college sweatshirt that she had sent forever ago, and part of me was glad she looked miserable. The petty, vindictive part that wanted her to hurt like I was hurting. She started talking before I even sat down. It was word vomit. Apologies and explanations all tangled together. They've been together for 5 months, more than half the time that she's been living with me, pretending to care about me. She'd been sneaking around with him. She said that they met at a support group, both dealing with family estrangement, both feeling alone and misunderstood, and I just wanted to laugh. I wanted to scream and wanted to throw my coffee in her face. Instead, I just sat there, letting her words wash over me like acid rain. She said that he was the only person who ever really saw her, the only one who understood, and she actually used the word soulmate. I had to bite my tongue to keep from laughing or crying or both. Then she grabbed my hand, looked me right in the eyes, and begged me not to tell her mom. Her mom, the woman that she'd spent months telling me was a controlling nightmare, the woman she cut off contact with, the woman who was the reason she needed support groups in the first place. She would not understand, she said. The family wouldn't understand what we have. It's spiritual. It's beyond what normal people can even comprehend, you know. That's when I knew something was messed up. See, not just garden variety messed up, not just my best friend is dating some creepy older guy messed up. Oh, this was something else entirely. I should have walked away, should have told her to get out of here and never contact me again, but that phrase kept echoing in my mind. The family wouldn't understand. Why would her family care who she was dating? Why would it even matter, you ask? Well, my gut was screaming at me. That same feeling I had when I'd smelled that strange scent on her when she came home late last night. That crawling sensation under my skin. I told her mom. I know, it wasn't my business, wasn't my family, wasn't my problem. But I couldn't shake the feeling that something was deeply, fundamentally wrong. So I found her mom on the Book of Faces, sent her a message, just said I was concerned about her daughter, that she was dating someone, his name is... well, I won't mention his name on here for his privacy, and she begged me not to tell the family, I said. Guys, the response was immediate, and let me tell you, I didn't know it would be this explosive. Her mother calls me hysterical, demanding to know everything. When I mentioned the guy's name, she went silent, and then she said her aunt's coworker? Yeah, I said, that's the one. The noise she made, I can't even describe it, like a wounded animal, like something dying. Her aunt, the one whose coworker he was, had not spoken to the family in over a year. Some big falling out nobody would talk about, but after my messages, she came roaring back into the picture and moved in with my ex-best friend within 48 hours. She said she needed to get to the bottom of things. Well, I thought that would be the end of my involvement. I pulled the trigger, set off the bomb, whatever you want to call it. Now it was their family drama to sort out, not my deal. But of course, life is never that simple. Nothing is in this story. Ugh. She kept calling me, leaving voicemails, crying, begging, saying I'd ruined everything, saying I didn't understand, saying if I knew the truth, I would see why she had to lie. Obviously, I didn't answer. Didn't call back, just listened to the voicemail late at night when I couldn't sleep, trying to decode what the hell had I done. Then one night, about a week after her aunt moved in, she calls and I heard them fighting in the background. Screaming at each other, I could only catch fragments, something about DNA, something about a birth certificate, something about how could you not tell me. Then the call cut off. She didn't call again for 3 whole days. When she finally did, she was different, calm, quiet, defeated. Can we meet? I need to tell you the truth, the whole truth. You deserve to know. I should have said no once again, but here we are. Every self-preservation instinct I had was screaming, no! But I needed to know. I needed to understand what could possibly justify all of this. We met at her apartment. Her aunt was there, sitting in the corner like a stone guardian that you see in some old Dracula movie. Face set, hard lines, eyes red from crying or lack of sleep, or both. My ex-best friend looked like she had aged 10 years in 3 days. Hollow cheeks, shaky hands. She kept starting sentences and then stopping like the words were physically painful to say. Finally, her aunt snapped. Just tell her. Tell her what you told me. Tell her the truth about your soulmate. And she did. The man that she's been with for 5 months. The man who understood her like nobody else. The man who was her spiritual connection. Will get this. Was her half-brother. See, I need you to understand that when she said those words, my brain just stopped working, like somebody had pulled the switch. I heard the words, but they didn't make sense, couldn't make sense. Half-brother. She kept talking, explaining they found out through 23andMe. Both did a test on the whim, separately, before they even met and got the notification about a close DNA match. Started messaging through the app and bonded over their shared father, who abandoned them both. See, they met in person, before the support group, made up the story to explain how they knew each other. The support group was just their cover story, their excuse to see each other. At first she said it was innocent, just 2 people finding family that didn't know that they had. But then feelings developed. And that's how she put it, like it was something that just happened to them, like they had absolutely no sort of control over it at all. Well, they tried to fight it, she said. She knew it was coming, knew it was. I can't even type the word, but the connection was too strong. They couldn't help themselves. I was going to be sick. Right there in our living room floor, the room was spinning. Her aunt was crying, and she just kept talking, like if she could explain it enough, I would understand, and yeah, I might even forgive her a bit. Forgive her? There's no forgiving a cheater. We didn't know at first, she said. Her aunt's voice cut through like a knife. She said, bullcrap, you knew, you both knew, you just didn't care. And then my ex-best friend's mask finally slipped. The tears stopped, her face went hard, and she said, you're right, we knew, we didn't care. Because what we have is bigger than social conventions, bigger than biological accidents. We're meant to be together. I ran to the bathroom and threw up. I was violently throwing up, shaking heaves, and when I came back, they were screaming at each other again. Her aunt was waving papers. The birth certificate, I realized, was the solid proof, so I left. Walked out without saying another word and blocked her on absolutely everything. Threw out every single thing that she left behind and burned the vanilla candle and threw the ashes into the dumpster. I thought that was the end of it, the worst of it all. I thought it couldn't get worse. But then it always gets worse. I tried to pretend none of it had ever happened, go back to my regular depression, day by day, instead of this new horrifying flavor of trauma. Oh boy, I was wrong. Police, 2 weeks later, came and knocked on my door. Her aunt had been found unconscious in the basement of their apartment, the same apartment I've been in just 2 weeks before. Poison, they say. She didn't die. Oh, thank goodness, because without her... Whew. She was close to it, though. Too close. The detective asked me questions I couldn't answer. When had I seen them last? Had my friend ever mentioned wanting to hurt her aunt? Did I know anything about their relationship? I told them everything. The DNA, the affair, the confrontation, and watched the detective's face go from professional interest to barely concealed horror. They searched the apartment top to bottom, found things. Notebooks full of ramblings about blood purity, genetic destiny, drawings, plans. Something they kept referring to as a shrine, but would not give me details about it. My ex-best friend had a complete psychotic break. That's when the detective said it. Believed that she and her half-brother were meant to create a perfect bloodline. They tried to convince her aunt to join them, to be part of their sick little fantasy. And when she refused, they started drugging her food. It was very small doses at first, and more and more and more. Planning to make her watch some kind of ritual that they were writing. Oh, well, he's in jail now. Yeah, her half-brother. Charged with attempted. Among other things, she's in psychiatric facility hold, deemed unfit to stand trial, probably will be there for a long time. And me, I'm still on the couch with the broken spring, still staring at the crack in the ceiling. Yes, it's definitely a lightning bolt. And just trying to hold my hand through the darkest moments of this lifetime. I don't trust anyone now, I can't. My therapist says it's understandable that trauma compounds trauma and that I need to give myself time to process. But how do you process something like this? I mean, come on. How do you move forward? My ex-husband cheated on me. That's right, I didn't tell you before I was married to a man. But he cheated, and we divorced, and that nearly took me out. But at least it was normal. At least it was something other people could understand, but this is something else entirely. This is the kind of thing that makes you question everything. Every friendship, every kindness, every moment of human connection. Was any of it real? When she held my hair back while I threw up, was she thinking about him? And when she counted breaths with me through the panic attack, she was counting down the minutes until she could go with her brother. When she told me I deserved better, that I was worth the loving, that I would get through this, was any of it true? Or was I just a convenient cover story for her sick fantasy? I don't know. Yeah, well... Not that I want to know, but I don't know. Sometimes I still dream about her. It's not really a nightmare, which would almost be better. Just regular dreams where we were sitting on this couch watching trash TV, eating ice cream straight from the container, and in the dreams, none of this happened. She never left, never ghosted me, never revealed herself to be the monster wearing a human mask. I wake up from those dreams for just a split second at a time. I forget. I think about texting her about something stupid I saw online. Then reality crashes back in, and I remember that the person I want to text does not exist, maybe never did. Guys, Have you ever been in such a messed up situation? Maybe not this exact scenario, but something equally messed up. How did you weather the storm? Because I'm at my wit's end and I don't really know what to do. Any comments down below will be muchly appreciated. Goodbye for now.